What's up, everyone? Welcome to Grinders Live. I'm your host today, TJ Zwarich. I am not Dean 789024137904. Dean is unfortunately away today. He's got some stuff he's dealing with, so we're keeping Dean in our thoughts, hoping everything goes well. But I am joined by one of the very best in the biz, Tasteful Tides, Shiver Me Timbo. Timbo, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing well, TJ. Did not have a very good main slate yesterday at all in the NFL, but I had a really good team in Showdown last night, so I almost made all my money back from the main slate in Showdown. So it was a pretty good Showdown team. It was bad though in another way though, because I had Atlanta +4, and I thought I had it pretty well locked up when Penix threw that miracle touchdown with 14 seconds left, but no, the Commanders came down and scored a touchdown in OT. So, but yeah, I mean, it was an okay day. I only lost a little bit, and I had a horrible main slate though. Did not get it on the Baker train. I don't know about you. Did you have any Baker?
I did. I had a lot of Baker onslaught stacks, and so I had like a lot of Baker, Bucky Irving, Evans, McMillan, and Durham all in one lineup. And so with Thielen as a run back. And so I had a lot of really good teams, but unfortunately the Tajay Spears thing kind of bit me in the butt because I had him in, I think, 90% of my lineups, all my Baker lineups. He had the 100-yard bonus, and then he got hit in the backfield, concussed in the third quarter, lost the bonus, didn't come back. And so hopefully he's okay. Obviously it's a concussion. It's far more worrisome than my DFS lineups. But that kind of held me back from getting too close. I think I finished like top 200 in the Millie Maker. With Tajay Spears. Had the Bills defense, they went off, and unfortunately just a little too much Saquon Barkley and not enough Jonathan Taylor to really have a big day. But all in all, didn't lose money, so we'll take it anytime we get that. But we got a fun NFL game tonight. But before that, we got some NBA to talk about. 7 games. Still waiting on some injury news. We have Brunson questionable. We have Joel Embiid questionable. Jordan Poole questionable. And then some other players like Sarr and Lively, Drummond and Grant. But for the most part, we got almost everything that we're waiting for. We got Kyrie Irving has been ruled out. So a ton of value for the Dallas Mavericks tonight going up against Sacramento. What's your 30,000 feet view of the slate? And just so the people know, I forgot about it because I didn't really think I don't know the days of the week, and I didn't realize today was Monday, but I'm on the spot trying to think up a movie Monday for the people today so that we can still give away that week RG premium.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see if you can come up with one on the fly. So yeah, tonight's it's a pretty interesting slate just because of the way the games are spread out time wise. Like we have 2 7:00 games. Then we have at 8, a 9 o'clock, and then 3 10 o'clock games. So this is going to be like a late swap. Definitely take advantage of late swap on the slate. Like if you've got plans on New Year's Eve, like this is going to be a tough night to play NBA DFS. I might just play some props if that were the case because not only did we have the guys that you mentioned are questionable, I think there's some Portland pieces that could end up moving around. There's a few guys that are questionable on Portland as well. So definitely could be some late swap action. So I think that's a really, really important part of the slate. You and I were actually on a show on Saturday, TJ, when the Knicks and Wizards were playing against each other. And we were kind of, saying how unfortunate it was that the Brunson news was going to be the first game. I'm kind of glad he is tonight because I think that's going to be really nice to be able to have that information going to the slate and still be able to maybe get an edge later in some of these later games.
Yeah, it's interesting with, we got Drummond and Embiid questionable for Philadelphia, and that's the last game of the slate. We're already going to be loading up on tons of players in that Dallas and Sacramento game. So this New York situation, if Brunson is out, we're going to want to play a ton of Knicks. And even if he's in, we're going to like them. That Chicago and Charlotte game looks super interesting. And then all of the late games do as well. Like usually on a 7-game slate, I try to cut it down, make it 5 games, make it 6 games, 4 games. It's tough on this slate though, because I want to get action to every single game on this slate. The only team I don't have a ton of interest in is New Orleans, but even them, I think they have some playable guys.
Yeah, they definitely have some playable guys. I wouldn't have a lot of interest in Portland if I knew everybody was going to play. Like if they just stayed healthy and everybody that was questionable ended up playing, I wouldn't have a lot of interest. But because that game is going to be, I think, pretty slow and pretty ugly. But if they end up resting 2, 3, 4 guys, I could see getting to some Portland. And then we, of course, in that same game, we've got Embiid questionable. We've got Drummond questionable. Yabusele could end up being a really, really strong value if Embiid and Drummond both sat. So I think there's some interesting things going on in that game, and interesting like things to consider in that Philly Portland game.
Couldn't agree more. Let's start diving into it. I did think of the movie I'm going to use. I don't have all 5 clues yet, but I got number 1. And so I'm ready to throw it out. Clue number 1 today for Movie Monday is script. Script is clue number 1 for Movie Monday. If you want to guess in the YouTube chat, you can, but you're not going to win anything. You got to go to the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat, put your guesses in there. You get 1 guess per clue. If you get it right, you are going to win 1 free week of RotoGrinders or Scores and Odds Premium. Eric Johnson in chat asking if Kyrie is out. No, Kyrie is chalk. No, he's not chalk. He's not playing. And so if he is chalk, wow, would there ever be a big edge?
Richie Smalls says already better than Dean's clues. I mean, I 100% agree with that. So yeah,
I like to joke around with Dean about because he has some bad clues, and I like to say mine are better. But at the same time, I usually like to give him the benefit of the doubt, and just like say, hey, it's not bad, not too bad. But the last one for his last movie, I don't even remember what it was, but all the last Film Friday were maybe the worst clues that I have ever had. Best host in all of DFS, worst clue maker in all of DFS.
I definitely agree with that statement.
Let's dive into this 7-game slate. Like I said, first clue is script. Second one coming soon, but we got a 7-game slate to break down. The first one is New York and Washington. Like you said, we just had this game a few days ago. In that one, Jordan Poole and Jalen Brunson were both questionable. And Jordan Poole is out. Jalen Brunson played, and he broke the slate with a 70-point fantasy game. Today, Jalen Brunson questionable, and on the other side, Jordan Poole still questionable, as is Alexander Sarr. Who do you like first up on the New York side of things? Assuming Brunson plays, because obviously if he's out, McBride is the best value play on the slate. Cameron Payne is playable, and you just load up on Knicks today.
And Karl Anthony Towns gets a huge percentage increase in our if-then projections. Like Cat really explodes. So Cat would be an unbelievable play if Brunson, since I still think you could play Cat in tournaments if you wanted to. If Brunson plays, I don't mind taking a one-off of Brunson here just because he's so explosive. This is an amazing matchup for him. Really, that would be probably it. I played Brunson on Saturday. I played Brunson and Josh Hart. Hart was okay. I was hoping for a little bit better of a game, but Hart ended up being decent. I think really the starting 5 for New York, they're all viable in GPPs, but Brunson would be my favorite and something that I am considering playing in my single entry team. And then I think that with the Wizards, if they're all healthy, I really don't have any interest in any of them. If Sarr were to sit, I could definitely see getting some Joe Val at 5,100. I really don't think that would be that bad of a play, but I really think that's it. I really don't have a whole heck of a lot of interest in the Wizards.
If Jordan Poole doesn't play, how much interest do you have in a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, who became quite chalky last week? Didn't disappoint, didn't do super great either. 37 DK points in 30 minutes. You'll take that for sure at his price tag. How much interest would you have in Brogdon if we get Poole out?
Yeah, I mean, we have an if then for that, and I'll just tell you, like, we have it for Jordan Poole, Alex Czar, and Anthony Gill, and Brogdon doesn't really get much of a fantasy increase at all. I think he's a pretty decent floor play, but I don't really love his ceiling. So I'm not really about Brogdon in larger field GPPs.
Yeah, if he's going to be as highly owned as he was the other slate as well, I definitely would be looking to get under that. I didn't think he'd be coming up near 40% in the large field stuff after that news, but he was. And if we're going to get 30-40% owned Brogdon, I don't think I need to get there. If Poole plays, I don't think I need to get to anybody on this team. It's like you said, I would want to play JV if Sarr was out, but now that Kuzma's kind of like, is Kuzma? I kind of missed that Kuzma was coming back for this one.
Yeah, Kuzma's back. I don't think he's really somebody that I want to play in DFS.
No, but it makes it so I don't want to play anybody on the
right. Exactly. Yes. Exactly. But I mean, I would still consider Joe Val if Sarr sat.
Josh Giddey available to play. Zach LaVine downgraded to questionable on Monday.
All right.
So that's the next game on the slate. We have Chicago. We have Charlotte. Big total in this one, 226 total. Chicago, fastest paced team in the league, doesn't play much defense, especially inside. Charlotte doesn't play any defense inside. Vucevic, Giddey, White will all look a lot better if Zach LaVine doesn't play.
Yeah, definitely. These late afternoon downgrades are a little bit sketchy. So definitely, I don't know. I would luckily this is one of the first games on the slate, so we'll get that news. Definitely on board with Giddey or White, or I think this is a really, really great spot for Vucevic as well at 8,300. So I mean, if any of them, if LaVine were to sit, I think you can fire up Vucevic as well. This is going to be a really good game, I think, for DFS purposes because Charlotte is so banged up. So there's pieces on the other side. So this game could end up being really, really chalky if LaVine sat. Like, we're already going to get pretty big chalk on Charlotte because Micic is 4,600. He's rating out as a really, really strong points per dollar play. He's definitely, you're probably going to be one of your cash game core guys. I mean, we have Dinwiddie also, but Micic is still a really, really strong play. And then Miles Bridges at 7,300 again. No Miller, no Ball. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be a pretty chalky game.
With as much late news that we're waiting for and already have for this last slate of games, I would love to just say, hey, let's ignore these first two games. Let's move on to the next one, the last ones. But the New York side of things is already interesting. If Brunson is out,
LaVine's out.
LaVine already gets ruled out. All right, well, that's convenient for what we're going to be talking about. So we're already going to want to play the New York side of things. In the first game we talked about. Now in this one, Chicago and Charlotte. If Brunson's out, this one is already now far more interesting than that other one, and we already liked the other one. So it's going to be tough to not get exposure to these first few games, even though we love the last one. So Zach LaVine is out. How high do you think? Obviously, we'll wait and see for a projections update, but how high of priorities do Vucevic, White, and Giddey now become for you?
I would say, man, I wish they would increase Lonzo Ball's minutes, but I don't think they're gonna.
Yeah, Derek Ringering asked that in chat, like, what do we think of Lonzo? And his price has gone up a little bit now, so I don't really like him regardless. But I think we're looking at basically a 22, 23-minute cap, which maybe he gets to without LaVine. But even without LaVine, he's not minutes limit because of talent. He's minutes limit because of injury history. And so,
yeah.
I don't think, like, it's still, I think, going to be a little too difficult to get to Ball We did get Jalen Smith ruled in. Are there any other of these ancillary pieces you're going to have interest in, like a Taylor Horton Tucker or a Matas Buzelis?
Again, I mean, we'll lean on what the projection team says. I ran a quick court IQ, run without Io and without Zach LaVine, and I'm going to see what that comes up with here. See the usage differentials. Kobe White gets a 6% usage differential with no Io and no LaVine on the court. So I think Kobe White would be the top guy to play out of that group. Giddey gets a 3.5% usage increase. I don't know. What do you think they're going to do with THT? Who do you think starts for LaVine? Is it THT?
I was thinking Buzelis.
Yeah, I mean, that's who I would start. I don't know if they're going to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I agree with you. That's what I would do if I was the coach, but I don't know if that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, chat, as soon as I said THT, everyone was like, no, absolutely not, never.
I know. He's going to be so low owned if THT gets the nod after his, 6 assists and 1 turnover line the other night as super chalk. Yeah, that was such a bad game.
Javon Carter stepped in and just hit an absolute ton of threes the other night, played 35 minutes. Maybe he steps into the starting lineup. Whoever is the starter, I think, is the one that I like best, but I am excited to see how projections update here, see what we project Buzelis and THT for, because I'm playing 150 lineups tonight. I do think those are guys that I would maybe take shots on when they have higher upside. I didn't realize I was looking at FanDuel pricing. I actually do think Lonzo Ball is viable on DraftKings for 3,900. I think you can take shots on him there. I do think there's a ceiling even in limited minutes. I was looking at FanDuel pricing and I was like 4,400 on DK. And I still don't think you need him on FanDuel really. Maybe you can, but I don't think you need it. But 4,400 on DK, I was out. 3,900, a little bit more interest in. And like THT 3,500 and Buzelis 3,400. I think there's going to be some meat on the bone with these players. We're going to want to have a lot of exposure to Chicago. We can touch back on that when projections update. What about the Charlotte side of things? Because like no Lonzo Ball, no Brandon Miller. These guys are heavily undermanned, and already we're looking like they were going to be mega chalk.
Yeah, I mean they were like the super chalk earlier in the day. Checking now, Micic is still the highest projected owned player on the slate. I have no problem with that. I think he's a really, really strong play. The Chicago defense is pretty bad. So
Chalk Micic has never failed us, right?
I don't know about that. But yeah, I mean I'm fine with him. I actually think, I would prefer playing Bridges, but obviously you can play both. There's going to be a lot of game stacks in this game now. I mean, there's going to be a ton. A lot of overall ownership is going to flood to this game, even having all of the Dallas chalk. So, I mean, even Mark Williams is projected for really, really high ownership, which is I don't really love that as much because I think center is super strong. I'm going to have to run some sims here at our next update to see kind of like what other centers are popping. But I mean, Micic and Bridges, I think you could definitely play in cash. I wouldn't mind. I think I am going to play Bridges on my single entry team. I wouldn't mind the Micic fade just because there's going to be some other really, really strong guards that are affordable on this slate. So I think you can get away with fading Micic. Yeah,
obviously you can play both of these guys, but if I ever had to choose between like Micic or Dinwiddie, it's going to be Dinwiddie 10 times out of 10 for me on this slate, I think. I think Seth Curry is going to be viable. They're just so heavily undermanned that he's going to get at least 20, 25 minutes. And if he gets hot, it'll probably be more. I never really like playing Salon, however you say his name. He never performs anytime I play him. Maybe he just never really performs in general. Josh Green is kind of one of those guys too but he played 39 minutes in the last game against OKC. I do think without Ball, without Brandon Miller, maybe he will get enough usage to do something. But Bridges is definitely the prize here. He's definitely the main priority, running like Kobe White, Vucevic, and Bridges mini stack 2-1. That's a really nice way to start out a lineup.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm just worried that the field is really going to flock to this game, especially if Brunson plays. Because like if Brunson sits, then a lot of people are going to be flocking to the New York chalky value guards versus the Micic, Bridges, and some of the Chicago pieces.
Derek saying that Stevie liked Curry on the morning grind last night. And yeah, RIP to the morning grind, the best first look podcast in DFS. No more, or at least on hiatus for a while. So shout out to Stevie for everything he's done with that podcast. And
I was supposed to be on the morning grind last night, and I had to call out because I was not feeling well. I've been sick for the last, I don't know, couple of weeks, I think. So I did not have the energy to record with Stevie. I felt really bad about it, but I could not do it.
Yeah, totally fair. You got to take care of the health first. Always got to take care of the health first. I keep constantly refreshing to see if we get a Chicago update here, and we did. Dalen Terry projected for 25 minutes now. He is the guy that we're expecting to pop into the starting lineup. Javon Carter still 6 minutes. Buzelis only 16. Taylor Horton-Tucker at 18 does look very good, or decent at least for his price, as does Lonzo Ball. Still only projecting for 18 minutes, but with the usage bump and the assist rate bump without Zach LaVine, that does make Lonzo Ball look a little bit better. I think the best point per dollar option is Patrick Williams, but I never like playing Patrick Williams just because he doesn't really seem to have much of a ceiling. And so if he becomes chalky, I'll probably go elsewhere. Kobe White looks very good for his price tag. Giddey still only 29-minute projection, even without Zach LaVine, but he is projecting very, very well. He looks like the best option for Chicago right now. Now that we have the projections update, how do you think you're going to prioritize these Chicago players in cash and single entry?
Just kind of looking over it right now. I don't think. Trying to see here. I think Williams would be in a cash game conversation. This was not as big of an increase as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, I think Williams is in the cash game conversation. I don't mind Kobe White in GPPs. I don't think he's a cash game play. Same thing with Ball. These guys are still really just mostly GPP plays outside of, I think, Patrick Williams that I think you can play in cash.
Giddey is, I think, he is the fourth best RG value on the slate now.
Who is?
Josh Giddey.
Okay. Maybe I need to do another refresh.
He's projected for 40. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize I have the shot quality projections up. So they're absolute, like the shot quality ones, absolutely loving Giddey. Still looks great in the RotoGrinders projections, but not quite that high.
I'm just worried about the opportunity cost at guard. So, like, I'm just, there's still Spencer Dinwiddie that I think we have to play. I still think you should be playing Micic in cash. So there's 2 point guards right there, right? And then, I guess you can fill out your utility with Giddey, but I don't think that's the right thing to do. So that's the only reason why I'm saying no to Giddey in cash. But Giddey in GPPs, obviously, that's completely fine.
Yeah, I didn't realize he doesn't have shooting guard eligibility.
Right, like if he had shooting guard eligibility, I'd be all for it. But with only point guard, I don't know if he quite makes the cash game build.
All right, let's go to the third game on the slate. We will go back and talk Knicks if we get the Brunson news during the show. If not, they will, of course, cover that on Crunch Time. We got Kevin Roth. We got Will Priester. And at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, we got the Clippers at the Pelicans. Clippers 4.5-point favorites in this one. I thought they would be a little bit more than that, if I'm being honest. But Clippers going into New Orleans. James Harden and Ivica Zubac's projecting pretty well. Who do you like on the Clippers side of things?
Yeah, we did have a question about when was the last ownership run. It was about an hour ago, but they'll rerun it very, very soon to take into account the Chicago stuff. So ownership
usually they wait for the next one until the last injury report for the game. But now that we got the Chicago news, that I bet they'll be running one right away. As we speak,
yeah, ownership always has to lag a little bit. So I would anticipate one coming in very, very, very shortly. Yeah, so I absolutely love James Harden today in GPPs. He is not somebody that I will be playing in cash, but definitely someone that I absolutely love in tournaments. I think he's going to get relatively low ownership because I think a lot of people are going to be spending down at point guard. So I think kind of, flipping the build, so to speak, and paying up. This Pelicans team is absolutely awful. It's a relatively close spread. So I really like James Harden today in GPPs. Like he's probably going to be like my hot take or whatever you want to call it, because I don't think he's going to get above 15%. He might even hover closer to like 10. So I absolutely love James Harden today. The rest of this Clippers team, I don't mind if people wanted to take shots on Zubac at 7,600. He's had some really, really monster games. He looks really, really good. So I don't mind Zubac at all at 7,600. But I really the rest of this Clippers team I don't have that much interest in.
We got a great question in chat. We forget sometimes. We shout out to our everyday listeners. We absolutely love them, but we forget sometimes. We got some people who aren't always familiar with our lingo watching every single day, tuning in. So shout out to Dex J. Thanks for joining. What's the difference between cash and GPPs? So a cash game, you're looking at doubling up. That is your goal, and that is the contest type you are selecting. So double ups and 50-50 contests where half the field doubles up their money, the other half doesn't make any money. Now, your goal in those cash game contests is to play the optimal or closest to what you think is the optimal lineup as possible. Helps a lot when you got projections like we do here at RotoGrinders. And if you want inexpensive access to them, you can also check out RotoGrinders Combo Lite. The holiday season brings us some huge DFS contests, GPPs, for the NBA and NFL, and we want you to have a massive holiday takedown. So we're taking $10 off your first month of Combo Lite. That means access to our SimLabs lineup building tool and content from some of your favorite DFS analysts like ourselves for just $19.99. Super duper inexpensive. It's an affordable subscription that has everything you need to build effective lineups. Score a big win this holiday season. So you got the 50-50s and the cash games, as we call them. You're building optimally. So when we say we like someone in cash, typically means they're projecting very well. But the reason we may not like them in GPPs, stands for guaranteed prize pool, or tournaments in general, the ones with a lot of money up top, but only the top 15, 20% finishing in the money. The reason we may not like them in those contests is because we want to pick lower owned players. We want to build unique lineups so that we're not building the exact same lineups as everybody else. We're competing with less people if the chalk plays, the plays that are highly owned, fail. So you have your 50-50s, your cash games, you're looking for optimal, and you're doubling up. You have your GPPs and your tournaments, you're looking to finish at the top. You don't care about doubling up. You don't care if you're first or in the 25th percentile, because either way, you don't make money back. You're shooting for first. So you're trying to get different, and that's why we'd like players in those formats, GPPs, tournaments, because they're not going to be as highly owned as the some of the other field for cash games. Clue number 2. For Movie Monday, nobody got it on the first one. Good. The script was pretty vague. I didn't expect it. It'll make sense when I reveal the movie, though. Clue number 2 is Fruit Loops. Fruit Loops is clue number 2 for Movie Monday. You get one guess per clue. Throw them in the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat. And if you want, you can throw them in the YouTube chat. You're just not going to win anything. If you guess it right in the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat, you get 1 free week of RotoGrinders Premium or Scores and Odds, your choice. Even if you already have Premium, it takes the discount right off. It gives you a cheaper month. So definitely get your guesses in the RotoGrinders chat. where were we, Tim? We talked about the Clippers. I like Harden quite a bit as well. I think I'm a little higher on Zubats than you are. Pelicans weak inside, and like, I know we're not supposed to game log watch.
Yeah, he's been so good.
Playing some good basketball right now.
I keep playing him at like 3% too. Like he's been really, really good for me. I think he's gonna get more ownership tonight though. That's my only concern. He's not gonna get like super steamed, but I think he is gonna be somewhat owned.
Yeah, I think so as well. I would definitely much rather play him on a slate where he's lower owned, but it's tough to ignore the ceiling he has on that price tag. So I definitely still think I'm going to be getting a piece of him in my 150 lineups. I'll probably just get even to the field. I'll get even to the field with him there. New Orleans side of things, this is probably the team on the slate that I have the least interest in. Maybe Golden State, but I think probably New Orleans. But still, Murray, McCollum, Murphy, all of them look fine. I think Messi on FanDuel looks pretty good, not on DraftKings, but on FanDuel because he's cheaper over there. I'm never a Herb Jones guy. I think you can, if you want to play Zubats and Harden in the same lineup, you can run it back with a Murray, McCollum, or a Murphy. But otherwise, I don't think I'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Johnson want to know what we thought about DeJounte Murray. The Clippers are a pretty strong defensive team, so really, I don't have any interest in Murray. You are right though. Misi's price on FanDuel is decent. I mean, I'm not playing cash on FanDuel. I'm just playing single entry. I don't think that I'm going to be using my lone center spot on him, but his price is much better. He's a much stronger play on FanDuel than he is DK. So I don't hate that take really at all. I think that's okay. But it's very unlikely that I end up rostering him in my single entry team.
I haven't played on FanDuel in months, but I really wish I kind of had been, because yesterday I don't have any money in that account because I withdrew from my last big win, and I decided I was just going to play exclusively on DK and prop sites. But I kind of wish I did, because we're going through, Chief and I, for Sunday Night Football, we're going through FanDuel pricing, and I was like, and I only played DraftKings, right? And I was like, I don't like Olamide Zacchaeus' price on DraftKings. I don't think I'm going to get there at all. But on FanDuel, I think my favorite build would be to play Daniels with Bijan Robinson, Zach Ertz, and Olamide Zacchaeus. And if I would have built with that game, with Daniels as the QB as my core and those guys on there, I can't remember who. I looked at that lineup, and if you want to use all the salary, the guy who was left was Drake London to fit that salary build, because you couldn't quite get McLaurin. And so that was the lineup I would have had in, was Daniels at MVP with Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Zacchaeus, and Ertz. It was the nuts.
That was the optimal. I was gonna say that must be the nuts, or super close to it.
And so I kind of did wish I was playing on FanDuel, because I liked that build over there, and it was the nuts. So hopefully one of our listeners for the Showdown show was took everything down with that build last night. Some good guesses in the YouTube chat. Get Shorty, Get Out, Aladdin, Brokeback Mountain, none of those ones. Discord chat has some good ones as well, but so far nobody has.
I thought you couldn't win if you did it in the YouTube chat.
You don't. I was just saying the guesses for
fun.
You don't win anything if you go in the YouTube chat. I was a little late on clue 2, so we will throw out clue 3 now. And clue number 3 is Spain. Spain is clue number 3. So we got script, Fruit Loops, and Spain as our 3 clues. Let's I feel like we've covered enough. The Clippers and the Pelicans. Harden and Zubats both look fine. Other than that, Clippers not so much. Murray, McCollum, and Murphy basically exclusively as run backs if you're playing some Clippers players. Denver and Utah. This one is a bit more exciting, even though Denver is not living up to expectations this year, and Utah is in full tank mode. They got John Collins already ruled out for this one, but 2 teams with not a lot of defense here, Tim. And so we got a high total of 123 for the Denver, 12K for Nikola Jokic, which is, believe it or not the most expensive we've had him at this year. He's gone all the way up to 12.5 on DraftKings at various points. And so Jokic is always the best play on the slate. It's just about whether or not you can afford him and can get there. It's a 7.5 spread, but Utah never blows people out. They're not good enough. So I love Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, I absolutely have no issue with Jokic at all. I mean, obviously, we already had the value to play him. I mean, it's incredibly easy, and we make it even more. So, I think he's an absolute standout play. This Jazz team will have no ability to stop him. The only thing I guess that would stop him is a blowout. But they're only 9-point favorites, so it's not like a huge spread. But yeah, I mean, Jokic is easily the highest projected raw point player on this entire slate, and it's not even close, by 15 points. So I really do like Jokic quite a bit. I think you should be playing him in cash games, and if he's only going to be 15% in GPPs, I would try to get overweight that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm interested to see with this next ownership update that we get how much higher owned Jokic is because of just the straight up nothing's changed for him, but we do have more value, and so that could be. I swear, Gregorius is the wise is the goat of this game. They're taking this down like every other week, I swear, and they just got it in Discord again as I'm typing clue number 4 for Steve. Gregorius the Wise gets it on clue number 3. So shout out to him. I'm not going to say it out loud yet because I do want to give other people the chance to guess, but Gregorius the Wise nails it with on clue number 3. So Steve, I'm sure you've had a few conversations with them in Discord, just like lined up ready to go to just give them their free week every Monday. But Gregorius the Wise takes it down once again. They are the winner. I'll give clue number 4 right now just because it has been won anyways, and so he threw me off because as I was typing it, he guessed it. Now I'm forgetting what the clue that I had for number 4 was. So I'll hold off until it comes back to me. Obviously, we love Jokic. Anybody else on Denver you're interested in?
I guess it'd be Jamal Murray. I'm not really quite sure what to do with Russ still being in the starting lineup because I think he's kind of eating into Jamal Murray a little bit. But I mean, he would be my second favorite Denver play. I'm not going to prioritize him. I'd almost rather play Russ, to be honest with you. I mean, it's like when considering the $1,400 difference, it's pretty close, but really neither one of them are priorities for me. It's really just Jokic, and that's it. I'm moving on from Denver.
Yeah, that's it for me as well. Murray can always get hot and get there. He has been playing a little bit better lately. Westbrook could get there, but for the most part, it's Jokic or nothing for me. Just because we have so many great plays on this slate, I can't see myself getting to too many other players. Murray would maybe be. I'll play Murray because I'm playing a lot of lineups, and he's just been lights out lately. So I will play Murray, but I don't think I'll be getting to anybody else on this Denver team. What about the Utah side of things? Keontae George has been upgraded to probable, but there is no John Collins in this one. You going to get to any of the cheapies, or you going to try and play Markkanen, Kessler, Clarkson, any of these guys?
In large field, I think the only two I would consider would be Colin Sexton or Jordan Clarkson off the bench. I like good prices on both of them. Relatively low ownership, I would imagine, but really, I'm not too keen on any of the Utah pieces. I think Lauri Markkanen is going to be somewhat popular, and that's not something that I want to play into if he's really going to be like around 20%. I think that's too much. I don't think this is really a good matchup for him. So I'm pretty much out on Utah.
Yeah, I like all the prices, but it just doesn't feel like the slate for it. Like Sexton could get there for sure. Clarkson could get there for sure. Kessler, Markkanen, they all can. It's just there's so many other guys on this slate. I want to get big exposure to, and I need to make cuts somewhere. There's got to be somewhere we draw the line, and I think Utah is going to be one of those teams that might end up just getting the X button for me, which is scary because I know some of these guys have ceilings, but I think there's just elsewhere that I want to prioritize on this slate. Clue number
And
4.
Sorry, but I mean, like, if there's still news to be had in these 10 o'clock games, that would make it for like Utah to be like completely out of the equation for me. If we have all the news, then maybe you can take more shots on Utah. But if we don't for these 10 o'clock games, I would X them out.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Clue number 4 is CIA. Pretty self-explanatory. I don't really have to add to it. CIA is clue number 4. They tried to make me forget with their CIA technology. They didn't want me to use it as a clue, but I said, too bad, I'm using it anyways. And so CIA.
I would bet a lot of money I have not ever seen this movie. Probably haven't even heard of it.
So I was trying to think of something on the spot, and I couldn't get one specific movie out of my head, and it was the movie I selected as the Pick 6 movie of the week for the Pick 6 podcast. And so that's just the one that I went with because I just couldn't think of anything else. And so I gotta toot my own horn a little bit here. I won the Pick 6 tournament for the second week in a row, so I'm choosing the movie again this week. So that's going to be a fun one for me. I might finally have to dive into the comic book movie genre since I haven't made them watch.
I watch the Pick 6 show every week except for the movie part. I shut it off after I started talking the movie.
That's what I think a lot of people do, but it's funny how our viewership count doesn't really drop that much. So a lot of people stay in for the movies. You gotta stick with this, Tim, so that you can find some good movies to add to your repertoire.
So I listened to one review that you guys did, and it was the one on the musical.
Yeah,
and I thought that was pretty.
That's the last one I chose before this one.
Okay, yeah. I thought that was pretty funny. Listening to you guys review a musical.
Yeah, it was pretty good. That was I'm typically just pretty indifferent to musicals, but Tick Tick Boom on Netflix is one of my favorite movies of all time. All right. Let's go move on to Cleveland and Golden State. We're into these 10 p.m. games here. Rolling along right through this. We got to slow it down. But Cleveland at Golden State, 4-point spread in this one. Cleveland coming in with all their healthy guys. Golden State's been riddled with injuries lately, but are finally starting to get healthier here. Start with the Cleveland side. Who do you like?
Given the fact that this Cleveland team is not projecting for much ownership, I like them for that reason. This is a really, really amazing offense, an amazing team overall. I know that going into Golden State is not the best, but I mean, this is a pretty tight spread. And I expect all of these guys to play, all their normal minutes. So I like Jared Allen at 6,300 in GPPs. I really like that price at 6,300. I think he could absolutely crush that. I really like Donovan Mitchell with his point guard, shooting guard eligibility at 8,200. So I think those two in large field GPPs I like quite a bit. I'm not going to get to any of these guys in cash games. I wouldn't be shocked, though, if I played a one-off from Cleveland because I think that there are, okay options on the other side of this game. I think this game has some pretty decent, sneaky, shootout potential because it's not going to get owned on either side of the game. It's a good spread. It's a decent total. It's a 230 total. So I think this is a game that I really wouldn't mind getting a 1-and-1 from in single entry, but in cash games outside of, I think you could. I know it's a bad matchup, but I think you could potentially play Kuminga in cash. They want to play him. Kerr said that they want to play him starters minutes, so that's at least 30 minutes, I would assume. So I think Kuminga you could play in cash games just because he is just tearing it up out there and can absolutely crush this price tag. And maybe coming off the bench, he can kind of stay away from the some of the Mobley and Allen resistance that he will have at some points of this game. But 5,800, the way he's playing, still seems too cheap.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm probably going to set a rule max 1 Mitchell and Garland, max 1 Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. But all of these guys definitely have ceilings. I think I'm less interested in Allen and Garland than I am in Mitchell and Mobley. I'd rather pay up for those guys, but still, I think just recently, Allen and Garland have shown massive upside. We just got Cody Martin ruled out in addition to the confirmation of Miller and Ball out. So Cody Martin being out opens things up even more for Charlotte. We're projecting that already.
Yeah, we were projecting that already. All three. I just forgot to bring up Martin at the beginning of the show, but yeah, we had him projected out.
Yeah, he was questionable, but we were on the right side of that one.
Yeah.
And so Mitchell, Mobley, Garland, Allen, all playable. But I think Mitchell and Mobley are going to be the priorities here. Probably no more than 2 Cavs for me in a team, though. I'm okay with going Mitchell and Mobley together. Okay with going Garland and Allen together, but probably not going more than that. Mr. Richard asked him, are you okay with going Donovan Mitchell in single entry? He missed what you said.
Yeah, I really don't have a problem with that in single entry. Again, he's not a cash game play. He's not going to show up in optimals, but I think you can play him in single entry, and you can definitely play him in larger field, MMEs.
All right, typing in clue number 5 to Steve right now. Clue number 5 is LSD, another initial one. LSD is clue number 5. We'll give away the movie shortly here. It has been already guessed in Discord. Shout out to Gregorius the Wise for the win. But for those still playing along, we'll give it away at the end of in a few more minutes here.
We got a sim update as well. So we updated sims too, TJ.
Perfect. We'll take a look at that shortly. Clue number 1, script. Clue number 2, Fruit Loops. Clue number 3, Spain. Clue number 4, CIA. Clue number 5, LSD. Chris Kirkwood says that brings back some memories from the times that Kirk D's. There was the time that he was doing LSD in Spain while eating some Fruit Loops, writing a script before he got caught by the CIA, and they made him return back to the USA. That was a story back from his Juggalo days. I'm not sure if I had permission to tell.
There must be
if I didn't have
a lot of files on Kirkwood.
CIA has more on Kirkwood than he would like, for sure.
Right.
But that was all back in his Juggalo days. He's a family man now. Not getting into those types of shenanigans anymore. I apologize, my friend. It's a new life now. That's not the type of guy that he is anymore. What about the other side of this game? Golden State Warriors. Let's cover the rest of this one, and then we'll take a look at the sim, see how the Charlotte guys are rating out with the new news. Curry, I think, still has some meat on the bone with that price tag. Draymond's price has gone down. Kuminga has just been playing incredible basketball lately. You just never really know for sure if he's going to be getting the minutes or not. But I still think he makes for a strong GPP play. I don't love that he's 20+% owned.
Jordan Poole's out.
Jordan Poole is out, and so that'll make the Washington side of the game a little tempting, guys like Brogdon. But I want to see that ownership update, because if I can use Brogdon as a pivot away from some of the chalky options like Mitchich, great. If Brogdon ends up the chalk, I'm going to be out on that one. How many likes do we have? I don't think I've asked anybody to smash that like button yet. Come on, everybody. It's free content to smash that like button. 70, it's not bad, but let's get us up over 100 before the crunch time crew gets here. If you want Tim and I to tell you our slate breaking plays tonight, we'll drop that at 100 likes. So smash that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all those goodies. And if we hit 200 likes before crunch time, I hear Kirk D's will do a winter streak of Fenway and film it. And so we get it up to 200 likes before crunch time gets here. And we got a cold winter streaking of Fenway Park by Kirk D's. And so definitely make sure you're hitting that like button. Who do you like here on Golden State?
Yeah, I mean, I already mentioned Kuminga. I think you can play him in all formats. He should be playing around 30 minutes in this game. Outside of that, I really have no interest in Schroeder or Wiggins. I know Wiggins has been playing like big minutes, but I don't really care. I think Kuminga is still the better play between he and Wiggins, and he's the better play over Schroeder as well. Don't really want to get to any Draymond. Curry only in large field GPPs because you're right, he could smash that price tag. So I don't mind Curry in large field GPPs, but really it's really just Kuminga for me. And I really think you can still play him in cash. I know it's weird sometimes playing a bench guy in cash games, but I think you can play Kuminga in cash.
Yeah, the scary thing is like if he's not playing well, he's just going to drop, right? And he's just going to play 25 minutes again. But if he is playing well, you need him because he's
I
has
think
a massive ceiling for that price tag.
I think they're committed. I think they're committed to playing him.
That's
30
happened
minutes.
17 times over the last 3 years, though, where they've said like, okay, it's Kuminga time now. Like we're really going to give him his time to shine, and then he's just out, and then he just like plays 25 minutes.
Yeah, I guess that is correct.
I don't trust Kerr. I got a little bit of PTSD from him with that.
Sure. That does make sense.
Alexander Sarr is available to play. Outside of Kuminga, I think Steph. I never really like to play Draymond, but Steph, Wiggins, TJD, they're fine if you're playing a lot of lineups. Probably not guys that I get to in single entry. Kuminga would be the only one I am considering in that scenario. You did talk. We just got a update to Sims at point guard. Spencer Dinwiddie is still 42% optimal rate. He's projecting as the best, but Mitchich has dropped down significantly. He's only at a 16% optimal rate on DraftKings, whereas Kobe White is above him at 21.
Yeah, that does make sense. Probably just because White has the higher ceiling. I am a little bit surprised though that Mitchich is so low.
I think it probably has a lot to do with the point guard and shooting guard eligibility versus just point guard.
Yeah, I mean that's probably true as well. Yeah, and now of course they're gonna have to update these sims now because of Pool. We'll see what Brogdon happens as well to the sims. But yeah, I mean Dinwiddie's gonna be really hard to get away from in any format. If I was playing a 3 max, he'd definitely be in 3 of 3. I think the only way I wouldn't be all in on Dinwiddie is if I was playing like 150. I might get like 75%, 80% of him, but like in the 20 max, he'd be a lock button. The 3 max, he'd be a lock button. So Dinwiddie's the obvious, like I don't want to say free square, but he's the guy you got to play in terms of value.
Klay Thompson is currently our highest projected optimal rate shooting guard, which
that makes me so nervous.
That's chalk that I'm definitely going to be getting away from. Like Klay has had one game this season that you've needed him, 2, 3 tops. I'm not getting to some Klay Thompson. Joseph Ivy saying he just joined. Is Poole out? Yes, Jordan Poole is out. Klay Thompson's probably chalk I'm going to get away from. I would rather play Quentin Grimes for $500 on that same team. They are the 2 highest optimal rate small forwards on the slate currently. Power forward Miles Bridges is the top guy. He's showing in higher ownership percentage than optimal, but I think he's definitely still like obviously a cash game play, but Miles Bridges is I don't think that's bad chalk. Even if it's showing him being overowned, I don't think that's bad chalk with just how great the matchup is. That feels like chalk you just eat. Center is incredibly spread out. You were talking about being excited to look at Sims because seeing if you can get off that Mark Williams chalk that Mark Williams chalk. Well, I definitely think you can because he's got a 13% optimal rate and nobody is more than 13.6 with Sabonis up top.
Yeah, I mean, I just ran the Sims, obviously without the whole Brogdon situation, but I'm getting to 5 or 7 centers at 10% or more. It is very, very spread out at the center position. I'm actually kind of surprised Jokic is not simming better just because we have such good value. But I am getting to some Jokic. I'm getting to Jared Allen, which I absolutely love. And we talked about Zubac, getting to some of him as well. So absolutely Yeah, I mean, I really like Jared Allen today. I really think he can play in this game, and he's super cheap.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you. I probably will be spreading out my center exposure, but if we're going to see Chalk Mark Williams, I'll probably just hit the X button on him and differentiate throughout Nick Vucevic coming in super low owned, Karl Anthony Towns, Joel Embiid still listed as questionable, keeping his ownership down. Jokic, he's 15%, I'll get 30, that kind of thing. And so I'm definitely going to be looking to get overweight on all the stud center guys today if 50% of lineups are going to have either Zubac or Mark Williams in them. So definitely going to be loading up there. Somebody just said in chat, Sar is out. No, Sar is available to play. He is not out. He is in. That covers it for Cleveland and Golden State. Let's move on to Dallas and Sacramento. This is where we have all the goodness. No Kyrie Irving, no Luka Doncic. I don't think Klay Thompson is the guy at this stage in his career that is going to create his shots all on his own. I think he's going to be worse without the other studs on the court. And so this is a Spencer Dinwiddie day for me by far.
Yeah,
I might hit the lock.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would. If I was playing like 150, I might do like 80%. But in a 3 max or 20 max, I'd definitely be locking in Dinwiddie. Absolutely love Quentin Grimes as well. So both those guys, extremely cheap. Is it Gafford? I think is still questionable, or is it Lively's questionable? It would not be as big of a lock for Gafford because we're getting Washington back. So not an absolutely smash spot for Gafford if Lively sits, but he'd still be a good value.
Still, like I probably prefer if Lively's out, I like Gafford over Mark Williams straight up.
I don't think that's a bad take. I think that's okay. But yeah, it's really Dinwiddie and Grimes who are my 2 favorite plays from Dallas. I don't really want to play that much of a chalky Clay, so I'm with you on that one. But yeah, I mean, this game, these are the plays that allow you to play Jokic pretty easily. So, it's definitely, you're definitely playing Dinwiddie everywhere. He's the best value on the slate.
Yeah, if I don't lock Dinwiddie, I'll make a rule that I'll have minimum 1 of Dinwiddie and Jaden Hardy in every lineup, I think is how I go about it. Because if Dinwiddie fails, it's probably because Hardy had a massive ceiling game, or they just don't score any points. But Sacramento, not a very good defense. They're so heavily undermanned, a 109 total. But even if they're over 100, even if they get over 100 in this game, we're going to see some fantasy points because they're going to be having a much more condensed rotation. We did just get an ownership update. Miles Bridges has gone up to 40%, Dinwiddie 35, Micic 35. Again, if you're choosing between Micic and Dinwiddie, I think Dinwiddie is by far the better option there. Clay all the way up to 30, Mark Williams 30. Those are probably going to be 2 X's for me in tournaments. I'm probably just going to go 0% Klay Thompson and Mark Williams and just go with a really big stand there. Hope those guys fail, and if they do, I am way above the field. Chicago guys, we're going to have about 20-ish% for Giddey, White, Williams. But Nikola Vucevic, even with, which is crazy on a site that on a day that nobody is really standing out at center, Nikola Vucevic still only 3.6% in the ownership update.
That's a really good number. I'm surprised at the Walker Kessler ownership. I mean, I guess it's because he has to play.
I guess so, but like, does he? Nick Richards is there.
No. Walker Kessler, I said.
Oh, Walker Kessler, sorry. What was the question?
Well, I'm just surprised at how high his projected ownership is, and I guess it's just because he has to play. Is what I'm saying.
Just because
he has to match up with Jokic.
Yeah,
but still, I don't want to play him if he's going to be that popular. Yeah, I don't like a chalky Utah piece.
Another great question from the chat today, just on the kind of our basics of tools and lineup building. what is the difference between a lineup optimizer like Lineup HQ and SimLabs? So what we were just looking at was Lineup HQ, the lineup optimizer. What that does is it has our base median projections in them, and whether there are rules in here, like with a range of outcomes and the randomness, you can adjust to get more of, have it consider floors and ceilings a little bit more, have it consider ownership more and things like that. But a lineup optimizer, what I do like it for is control. That's what I like an optimizer for is control. I can say, hey, I only want X amount of this guy. I don't want to play these two guys together in any lineups. If I'm playing this guy and this guy, I want to make sure I'm always running it back with somebody on the other team. That's how I like to use the lineup HQ for. But at the end of the day, it's not considering any of the people you're playing against. It's only considering how to build optimally, hence the name optimizer. And so when you hear people that say, like, I just did 150 optimals, this is what it's getting. Dean does that on the show all the time. He says, hey, I just did 150 optimals. I didn't adjust anything. I'm getting it spit out this much of this guy. That is in Lineup HQ. I just clicked 150 lineups right now to see what it gives me. It's not considering what the field is doing at all. What SimLabs does is it's simulating the games that take place, considering floors, median projections, ceilings, thousands and thousands of times, but it's also considering the people you're playing against. So it's not just like where Lineup HQ will be like, this is a good play, so I'm gonna spit him out as much. I'm gonna spit this guy out as much as I can. SimLabs will go, yeah, this is a good play, but everybody's playing him way too much. It's not that good of a play. So when you're running the Sims, if you're in a large field contest, it's not going to give you those players. It's not going to give you the ones that everybody else is getting to that aren't actually quite that good of plays. It's going to give you people who are almost as good that the field is not getting to, that have the same ceilings. And so it helps you build strategy within your lineups. Now, I like using it's a lot based on preference. Tim, I know, utilizes the Sims a lot. For me personally, I'm a Lineup HQ guy because I like to go, well, I want the control, not the Sims. I want to have the control. And so I want to make sure I am pairing these guys together. If I'm playing him, I don't get him. If I play him, I am going to get him. And so that's why I like using Lineup HQ. But especially if you're low on time, or if you want the computer to do all the work for you, consider all those things, SimLabs is the absolute best thing for that. And you can get access to our SimLabs tool if you utilize the combo Lite, $19.99, like we already talked about. And you can also use Roto10 to get $100, $50 back when you play Quick Picks at Splash Sports, splashsports.com/RotoGrinders homepage. Use code Roto10, and you should also check out our props and pick'em package if you don't want to worry about SimLabs, don't want to worry about Lineup HQ. You just want to get some props for the pick'em sites or for your sports betting sites. You can get access to all of our expert picks for all your favorite sites. Our elite sports betting and fantasy pick'em package features bets and analysis from your favorite RG experts. Props and pick'em also includes tools and data powered by our hard-working projections team. Don't make a bet without it. And if you do have RotoGrinders combo, one of the beautiful things is you get access to our projections team, and also you get access to the shot quality projections. It's some of the most advanced NBA data in the market. Get shot quality projections for Lineup HQ, rotogrinders.com/shot quality, and get 1 month access for $40 or yearly for $200. If you just want to give it a try, you say, hey, I want to test these out myself. I don't trust it. Before you buy it, you can get 3-day pass for only $9.99. So make sure you check it out. These are the ones I use for my lineup building. I'm running 150 lineups. I'll be using Lineup HQ and the shot quality projections within our RotoGrinder stuff. Shout out to Steve. He says DJ can sell hair products to a bald man. I miss those old FanDuel reads where I would have to say 40 states as fast as I can. Those were definitely a lot of fun. We got 2 games left on the slate before we make way for crunch time. 1 game left. Before we make way for crunch time, but we still got to cover the Sacramento side. We kind of breezed by them. So 1.5 games, if you will. We obviously like Dallas. We're playing some Dinwiddie. We're playing some Grimes. We're playing some Hardy. We're playing some PJ Washington, and we'll load up on Gafford if Derek Lively is out. But on the Sacramento side of things, Domantas Sabonis actually projects as the most, like, the highest optimal rate center right now. And he's also showing positive leverage.
Yeah, I mean, he seems a little bit too cheap for this matchup, so I really don't mind Sabonis in GPPs. I think you can play him in single entry also. Outside of Sabonis, though, I really don't have much interest in any of the other Kings. I don't really love this game outside of the obvious Dallas value, and then maybe some Sabonis, just because he should be able to clean up on the glass pretty well here. So I think this is a pretty good spot for Sabonis. But really, other than that, I don't have interest in any of the other Kings.
Shout out to Paul Hauser in chat, says he's got the combo light package and he took down an NFL GPP yesterday with a 247 score, whopping score for NFL. So shout out to Paul Hauser. Bet it probably was a Baker Mayfield stack, unless somebody went crazy with Drew Lock. I played Drew Lock like 3 weeks in a row, and I didn't play him on the other day in one of my like large field, small dollar GPP stuff. Regretting that one a little bit because wow, did he ever go crazy? But I probably would have played him with Saquon, so it wouldn't have mattered anyways. Philadelphia and Portland. Philadelphia is 6.5-point favorites in this one. Joel Embiid is questionable. He's probably going to be perma-questionable all year long. We're expecting him to play. If he plays, he looks like a very strong GPP option. If he's out, Philadelphia will be one of the top targets on the slate, if not the top target on the slate. On the Portland side of things, Jeremy Grant is questionable. Kamara is questionable. Banton is questionable. All backup players except for Grant. I mean, no, Kamara starts too. So that's actually upwards of 70 minutes that would have to be redistributed if those guys don't play. So while it doesn't feel like big news, somebody like Tumani Kamara, that's a lot of minutes that still goes around. So this is some of the value we're going to be waiting for. I did forget to mention, we've talked about it in chat, but I forgot to mention Brunson is in. Jalen Brunson is in, so we're not getting that mega Knicks value.
Yep. So that's just gonna make Micic and Dinwiddie even higher on now because we're not going to get that big bride bailout.
Yeah, exactly. Start with Philly. If assuming Embiid is in, who do you like? Because if he's out, we obviously like Mac. We love Maxey and George.
We love Maxey.
We love Oubre. Kelly Oubre, sorry. Yabusele is going to be a smash if Drummond would be out too. So you just load up on all the Philadelphia players that are in and starting if Embiid's out. But if he's in, who do you like?
I still actually don't mind Maxey, even if Embiid is in. He's been playing really, really well lately. This is a pretty good matchup as well. So I really don't mind getting to some Maxey. I think you could even play him in like a 3-max setting. He's getting the third. I think I'm getting the third most to him in Sims behind Dinwiddie and Kobe White. So I'm getting to quite a bit of Maxey in Sims right now. I was hoping to get more Harton, but I'm actually getting more Maxey. So he's really showing up quite strong in the Sims right now.
I forgot to give out the answer for the movie Monday, but the answer was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal. Silly movie about where Nick Cage is playing himself, and it's supposed to be about his life, but it's just very hyperbolic and exaggerated. Very silly, very funny. Clue 1 was script. It's because the plot of the movie is centered around Pedro Pascal's character pitching a script to Nick Cage. Fruit Loops, because there is one very tense scene in the movie where Pedro Pascal's cousin is threatening him with a gun while eating Fruit Loops. It takes place in Spain. Number 4, CIA, because his cousin, Pedro Pascal's cousin, he's a drug lord. The CIA gets involved, and they ask Nick Cage to help take him down. And LSD, because Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal's character have a very silly LSD trip together. Really funny movie, really fun. Check it out if you've never seen it before. Portland side of things, if everybody's in, I don't need to play anybody on Portland. I can just X out the whole team. But I want to have some potential exposure because one, Philadelphia's defense is a lot worse. if Embiid doesn't play, and 2, if Grant, Kamara, Banton are out, that opens up a lot of extra minutes for somebody like a Scoot Henderson, who at 5K would look really good. If Grant is out, that would make Denny Avdia project as one of the better value plays on the slate. So this is definitely a team we need to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I'm really holding out for Denny Avdia, actually. He's the guy that I think would really, really stand out as a very, very strong play if those guys were to sit. Don't mind the Scoot call. Definitely fine in GPPs, but I think Avdia would end up being pretty close to like an optimal play. So I think he's somebody that I'm gonna be holding out and produce for. So like I'm just gonna tell people like I'm probably gonna like roster James Harden, and then depending, I mean if but the thing is I might try to hold out until 10 and roster Maxi instead. I'm kind of like debating right now, like whether or not I want to play Harden and lock up that spot at 8 o'clock, or fade it and hope that we get Embiid sitting and then smash Maxi, because I think he's just going to be an absolutely amazing play. And then if I don't get that news, maybe I'll just play Donovan Mitchell. So maybe it's better for me to like hold out and not play Harden, hold out till 10 o'clock and play Maxi if Embiid's out, and if Embiid's in, maybe play Mitchell instead, because Mitchell's actually simming quite well as well. So I think getting to one of those kind of more expensive point guards tonight is a very, very strong play in GPPs.
Couldn't agree more. I love that call. That's a great straight line pivot. If you want to load up on a ton of Maxi, even in MME, if you're playing a ton, just pivot, swap that to Donovan Mitchell, some of it to Donovan Mitchell if Embiid is in, and then a single entry, you just go directly to Donovan Mitchell after that. And so, yeah, I like it quite a bit. Portland side of things, hold on to the news. Nothing yet. We don't like them at all. If everybody's in, if Grant is out, if Kamara is out, if Banton's out, especially Jeremy Grant is the main one, but Kamara as well, all of a sudden that team looks very, very interesting. We reached 100 likes, Tim. Who is your guy today that is breaking the slate?
Well, it was going to be Harden, but now I'm not even positive I'm going to roster him because of this kind of potential later news. So I'm going to say, because he's already simming quite well, even with Embiid in, I'm going to say Tyrese Maxey.
Good call. I like that quite a bit. I'm going to go with, I just had it and then I forgot it. Kobe White. Kobe White is going to break the slate today. He's going to have a real big day against Charlotte. I think Kobe White is going to be the slate breaker. Tim, we did great. No Dean, but I still think we held our own. People asking where he's going to be. Hopefully Dean will be back very soon. He's just dealing with some family stuff right now, so we're keeping him in our thoughts. Hope everything goes well, and hopefully Dean will be back here nice and soon. Shall we pass it over to Crunch Time? I think we should. They're here. They're ready to go. Crunch Time. Let's do it. Will, great to see you again as per usual. Roth, I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time. How you doing?
It's been a minute. I'm good, man. How about you? Are you good?
Doing well, hanging in there. Almost had a real big day in NFL yesterday. Didn't quite get there, but fine enough. And hopefully today will be the same. But doing well. Had a weekend to myself. My wife and the baby were at the lake visiting my mother-in-law. So I just did basically tons and tons of RotoGrinders shows. And when I wasn't doing that, I was playing PS5. And so that I played about 12 hours of PS5 this weekend. It was great.
Isn't it so amazing? Like, you don't realize the freedom that you once had until it's taken from you. And then you get it back for a weekend and you're like, oh, this is incredible.
I
don't love your wife.
I basked in it, and I just used it to the fullest. I don't feel the need to play any PS5 right now. I just kind of got it all that I needed out of my system because I just played for hours and hours on end.
Well, you can't drop that without telling us what game you're playing. So go ahead, hit us with the game.
So it's called Marvel Rivals. It's brand new. It's like an Overwatch, Apex Legends style team shooter game, but it's all Marvel characters, and they all have different abilities, things like that. And it's just booming right now. It's got like 20 million new players in the last week, and it's a free-to-play game. So you play online with your friends. It feels like you're in high school again with like your like your headset on with your Xbox parties, hanging out with the friends. So it's a lot of fun. And actually, for Agents of Fandom today, we chatted with the voice actor for one of the characters. His name is John Bailey, epic voice guy on socials, and he voices Jeff the Landshark in Marvel Rivals.
Very nice. It does sound right up your alley. I would love to chat more about gaming with you, and perhaps we should actually do that. But we have 25 minutes until lock, and I need to get this man's thoughts on all things NBA hoops. So with that, I bid you gentlemen adieu. TJ and Tim, thank you for hanging out and rolling for the show as long as you did.
Yeah.
No problem. Thank you. At all. Good luck, guys.
Good luck, everyone.
Later, boys. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. And with that, you know the drill. It is crunch time. It is generally two of the sharpest minds in the biz. But today, when you have one mind who is sharper than most entire cities combined, then we just bring in solo shipping it. We got my guy, Chief, in the house. What's up, man?
Nothing much, man. Doing good. Glad to come on, talk through this slate, and hopefully help some people make a little money along the way. It's a very interesting one. Fair amount of guys out, but there's plenty of things that we can do to get different on this slate, and so I'm ready to roll.
Chief, already I must say that hat is dope, but does the undercolor of the hat match the hoodie? Is that what's happening right here?
No. It does look like it's close.
I was like, damn.
The hoodie is actually it's not Carolina blue. It's a little different shade of Carolina blue, and under the hat is gray. But it does look like that.
Yeah. All right. I was just checking. I was just checking the swag level here because I was a little overwhelmed if that was going to be the case. Gentlemen, let's just dive into it. Let's pretend that someone that you're on a show with somehow got kicked off of RotoGrinders Premium and does not have access and has no idea who is good and who is bad. Run me through this slate. Run me through your overall thoughts. Then we'll dive into it, starting on FanDuel, going to DK, opening it up for questions, all of that in 23 minutes. Chief, take it away.
So what I will say is I do feel like both of these slates are pretty close between the sites today. So typically, I may want to do a few things a little bit different, but mostly I'm kind of on the same guys on both sites. Not much is changing because there isn't that big of a salary gap for me to not consider a lot of these guys. So let me just get that out of the way. I'm mostly the same on both sides. I do think the Charlotte-Chicago game is the most stackable. So if you're trying to run with a game stack, I do think that game is the most stackable in terms of how competitive I feel like it will be, how the salaries mesh together, how many players we can get from both sides without feeling like it's overkill, so forth and so on. So in terms of a game stack, I do think that one is the best. In terms of, best value on the slate, I would say these three teams, probably Dallas, Charlotte, and Chicago, are giving you the most value. Probably followed by Washington, giving you some value because Poole is out. But obviously they're playing the Knicks, and we expect, even though that game went a lot deeper, I think, over the weekend, we expect the Knicks to take care of business. So that's where I am just in a general sense. And then, then we can start nailing down some specifics as we go along.
Okay, well, let's nail down some of those specifics. And I'd like to start on FanDuel. I know you said it's similar on both sites, but with just one person, I think we can run through FanDuel and DK. And if you repeat yourself, that's fine. No big deal. Start me off on FanDuel with the point guard.
So and here's one of the big differences. Like I said, there aren't a lot, but I will say this. On FanDuel, one of the things that I love is you can get Josh Giddey has multi-positional flexibility. So you can get him at point guard or shooting guard. I think that's a big deal on FanDuel tonight. We're on DraftKings. He is point guard only. And a lot of the value that you want to play raw is point guard only, like Spencer Dinwiddie, like Mitchich from Charlotte. Those are two guys that I think you want to play tonight. They are point guard only. Giddey's point guard, shooting guard. So I think on FanDuel, where we typically talk about who we're playing, I'm going to say let's not roster him in the point guard position tonight. Let's roster him at shooting guard on FanDuel. On DraftKings, you have no choice. unless you're going to run him in the utility or something like that. So that's that. I do think James Harden, 8,700 on FanDuel. Man, really good price on him. Jalen Brunson obviously just set the world on fire over the weekend, Roth, against these same Washington Wizards. 55 real points in the bucket for Jalen Brunson. And, I mean, he was just scoring everything.
Devastated that I missed that, but good note.
Yeah, he's 8,600. Definitely think that's a guy that you could once again plug in there. Kobe White, once again, Roth, you can get him at point guard or shooting guard. I say roster him at shooting guard, but I don't think I would roster him and Giddey together. I do think I would split the Bulls. You've got Malcolm Brogdon at 5,800. Guess what, Roth? You can roster him at point guard or shooting guard tonight. So I do like him also. And then last but not least, if you want to throw Carrington in there because he's going to play big minutes, he's 4,600, but he's point guard only. So, Roth, I'm sure you've heard this, but a lot of these point guard only guys, that's why I want to play them. Mitchell is point guard, shooting guard. You can get him in both spots. Point guard only on DraftKings. So on FanDuel, you got a little bit more flexibility.
Okay, very good.
That's shooting where guard. I am on FanDuel. Yep. Shooting guard, all those guys I talked about that have that multi-positional flexibility, definitely want to play them. And then the other guys are like Norman Powell. I actually like Norman Powell tonight at 7,100. I think he's kind of an under the radar guy that nobody will play in what should be a competitive game against New Orleans. He's 7,100, but you can also get him at small forward. So for all the point guards that I don't want to get at shooting guard, Roth, I've moved them down. So Norman Powell, I'm probably going to bump him down to small forward. But once again, you can play him at shooting guard. Mm-hmm. I think he's just fine. Similar to all of these Knicks guys, like I think you should be playing each Knick player. I'm not saying playing them all together because I can't tell you, Roth, which one of these wins between Bridges or Josh Hart or OG. And I know those guys are at different positions. But my point is, I think you should be playing one Knick in every lineup also. One of these guys is going off. It's probably going to be Karl-Anthony Towns. We'll talk about him later. But I do think Mikal Bridges at 6,400, on FanDuel, I think you should consider him. He's also a shooting guard, small forward. So you can get him there. Excuse me. All right. Last but not least, going down to the bottom here, we've got Klay Thompson, we've got Christian Braun, we've got Grimes. I think any of those guys are fine. I feel like Thompson, Grimes, Braun, I feel like they're more cashy, if you will, Roth. I feel like they're more cash game plays. But any of these guys could go for 30. If they go for 30 on FanDuel, you're probably okay to still take down a tournament. So I wanted to mention those guys because they should be picking up some nice minutes tonight also.
Okay, small forward.
All right, small forward. So nobody's over 8K at small forward tonight, Roth. So it's a lot of these same guys that I want to flip-flop. So I want to get some Norman Powell at small forward. I want to get Mikal Bridges. He's probably my favorite small forward. You can also get him at power forward. So I want to mention that because he's probably a guy I bumped to power forward, but you can get him at small forward as well. Obviously, I talked about Bridges. OG, you can get him at small forward. A little bit priced a little bit higher on FanDuel. Not really worried about it. It's a matchup with the Washington Wizards. So he's a guy that I don't mind. You can get Braun at small forward. I don't mind him. And then last but not least, with all these guys out, I think Josh Green is okay. I think Green from Charlotte is okay at 4,200. You can get him at shooting guard as well. I don't think I'll play him at shooting guard. But at 4,200, I think he's okay. I think Salon at 4K is also okay with all these guys out for Charlotte. I think you just play one or the other.
Yeah, and I did get a question from I Got No Chill, who says, who the heck is Tidjane Salawan on the Hornets, and is he any good? Like, what can I expect from this guy?
You can expect a wide range of outcomes. He's a guy they drafted in the draft this year. He's from France. He could very well score 25 to 30 fantasy points. He could very well score 12 fantasy points. He's also 4K. That's why I'm saying he's 4K. You just consider him. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Yep. Take me to the big forwards, power forward. What do you like there?
Yeah. Once again, my favorite is Mr. Bridges from Charlotte. Okay. Mr. Bridges from Charlotte is my favorite, but like Josh Hart, easily to go right back to the well for him against Washington. You could get Sabonis at power forward or center on FanDuel, excuse me. I think I'm more likely to play him at power forward tonight, Roth. I think that's the right place to play him. I like PJ Washington. He's power forward only. You've got Luka Doncic out. You've got Kyrie out. Somebody else has got to pick up some type of scoring load. I do believe Dinwiddie is going to be a part of that, but I think PJ Washington will also have his fair share in the contribution department. So I like him as well. We've been playing a lot of TJD. TJD has been fine. He only played 23 minutes against Cleveland. They should need him at 5,500. I like him. I think I play him at center, but I do like him at power forward as well, if you want to throw him in there. And then you've got Patrick Williams with the Bulls. No Zach LaVine tonight. He's 4,500. Matchup with Charlotte. Should be pretty soft defensively. And so he's another guy that I think you can squeeze in there. And once again, you can get Salon in there as well. And then if I don't think we play Maxi Kleber tonight, but if you want to, I think you could.
Can we talk about those Mavs a little bit more? Because what is the guard situation there? Again, somehow I don't have RotoGrinders Premium. Who is starting, and are we interested in obviously Dinwiddie, but who's the other guy? You mentioned PJ Washington. I don't know how I feel about that. Who else could get it done for them?
It's so all of the guys that you know and love, Roth, that you've been playing, those are the guys that are going to start. So that's Klay Thompson, that's Quentin Grimes, that's Dinwiddie. If you only had to play one, it's definitely going to be Dinwiddie. PJ Washington is the power forward, because you got to remember these other guys are suspended. So that's what happened. Like Luka's out because he's hurt. Kyrie's out. Najee Marshall's out because he's suspended. So and Lively, I think Lively's going to be back today. But
so what about Hardy? Like, Hardy was the first guy that popped into my mind. Is he going to get the minutes to get it done? Because if he hasn't been getting the minutes to get it done. That's the problem. So he's a deep tournament play. That's basically what it boils down to. You cannot play him in cash. On the surface, it looks like he should get minutes, but I'm telling you, they have not given him those 30 minutes this year for him to get those 30 fantasy points. So I can't in good conscience tell you to play Jaden Hardy outside of deep tournaments. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, if you're done with power forward, let's go to center.
Yeah, center. So my favorite center is Vucevic tonight on the cheaper end. So he's really affordable at $8K on FanDuel. My absolute favorite is Karl Anthony Towns at 9,600. But I think Vucevic at 8K tonight, really good price, really good play. This is a guy that I think should do really well. I've been playing some DeAndre Ayton. I keep playing Ayton. Roth, they don't want to raise this man's price. What if I told you DeAndre Ayton has 50 or more fantasy points in 3 of the last 5 games? Excuse me, 2 of the last 5 games.
I was going to say, yeah.
But 40 or more in 3 of the last 5. And they won't raise his price.
Yeah, and it should. He's too cheap.
Yeah, so I think Ayton, I'm just going to keep playing him. Nobody else wants to play him. I think he's been fine. Mark Williams, 5,800. Not seeing a load of minutes, but being very productive. And tonight, Charlotte's shorthanded. I'm expecting him to step up and do his job and do what he needs to do to bring us some tournament winning upside here. And that's mostly it for me at center. Like I'm pretty much all in on Towns, pretty much all in on Vucevic, and then some of the cheap guys. Ayton in the middle. Now, I know I didn't mention Jokic. I'm not going to convince anyone to not play Nikola Jokic. You want to play him against Utah? Fire him up. I mean, he's a walking 70 fantasy points. But I do think these other guys are really good today.
Yeah, if we can get somebody to get us 50 fantasy points at 6K or whatever Ayton is, then we'll take that over paying 10 plus for somebody. Okay, let's go to DK. I know you said it was very similar, your overall thoughts, but let's run it. Since it's just a repeat on DK, let's combine guards and forwards. This is from producer Steve. He's smart like that. Why don't you just walk me through guards in general on DK, especially since there's so much dual eligibility there?
Yeah, so Mitchich, Dinwiddie, Giddy from from Chicago, Kobe White from Chicago, Malcolm Brogdon, I do think is really good. Jalen Brunson running it back from the weekend. Think he could put up a really good score tonight. I like James Harden on both sides. I think he's really good. Quentin Grimes is fine. Klay Thompson is fine for cash. Those are my main guys that I want to get involved in. Not that I won't like sprinkling other guys. Like I talked about Mikal Bridges. I talked about Josh Hart. I talked like all those guys that I mentioned, I think are fine. Carlton Carrington. Not as interested in him on DraftKings as I am on FanDuel. FanDuel, he's much cheaper. So once again, there are some subtle differences, but did want to mention him because he is in that Washington category where they're a little short-handed with Jordan Poole sitting.
Okay. I suppose I want to go to forward. I got this question from my guy, Harry, whose last name I will not say. Are 4 Mavs in FanDuel Cash too many Mavs? As Dinwiddie, Grimes, Clay, and PJ.
I actually think that's too many. I think you're getting better value with Charlotte and Chicago tonight than you are with Dallas, even though Dallas is short a lot of their big names. I think if you're going cash, I think you take Dinwiddie and either one of those other 3. Dinwiddie is the one you take, and then I think you go back to the Charlotte-Chicago game for the other pieces. Like for if you want to get 2 to 3 from a team.
Yeah. Can you tell me about Sacramento, the pace defensively? Are they a team that we would typically want to target, looking at playing Mavs?
Sacramento has been a team that typically, we want to get involved in. Now, they fired Mike Brown, so I'm trying to kind of watch a few games and look at the data and make some adjustments. But you look at this team, they should be playing wide open or a pretty fast pace.
Yeah.
And as a result, I do think that's a good game. And I can give you specifics. I'm going to pull up specifics.
No, I'm just making sure they're not going to get locked down and score like 67 points like the Mavs.
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go through DK. You talked guard. Let's go through forward and then we'll answer some questions.
Yeah, Sacramento right in the middle, right kind of in the middle of the pace. They're 13th right now as of today. So that's really good pace. Really
I'll take it.
Pace. Yep.
Your favorites at the forward spot, both small forward and power forward on DK.
So once again, excuse me, my favorite right now is definitely Miles Bridges from Charlotte. Okay, between both positions, I love Miles Bridges today. We're very short-handed, so even at 7,300 on DraftKings, I think that's fine. I think he's 68, 69 on FanDuel. Does not matter. I think it's 40 or more fantasy points tonight. Thank you, Hammer. So I do really like him. I'm fine with Patrick Williams a little bit more on DraftKings where he's 4,200. So I like that price. Josh Hart, OG, Mikal Bridges, those guys. I love those guys tonight. Hopping down to that Dallas game. Once again, PJ Washington at power forward, like him. You can get Grimes and Clay at small forward if you need them. Perfectly fine with that. And then this guy, he hasn't been as productive as we want, Roth. But in this spot, I'm willing to roll the dice. Keegan Murray's 5K. Now, once again, this is tournament only. This isn't cash. But at 5K, I think there's a little meat on the bone. This is a guy that could get 30 plus if everything fell his way. I don't think he's dead just yet.
Okay, take me to center. Boy, I've got just some head-scratching decisions. I'm in this spot where I've got a bunch of cash, but I don't have anyone to spend it on, which I didn't expect to be in here.
Yeah.
But take me through center, and then maybe we'll try to work things out. And, of course, we'll answer questions.
My favorite tournament center, hands down, I mentioned him on FanDuel. I'm coming back to it, Roth. It's DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
We've got him projected around 2%. Folks, I'm not saying he drops 50 again. I'm saying he's been very productive in competitive games. Minutes floor seems to be stable, and nobody wants to play him. TJD is a lot cheaper on DraftKings at $4,900 or $600 cheaper, rather. So I definitely think he's a guy you can play. Sabonis, only center eligible on DraftKings, $9,300. Think that's a great price for him. Then one of my favorite centers, Rob. So once again, I'm taking Ayton because of the low ownership, reasonable price. Nobody wants to play. On the upper end, though, got to be Karl Anthony Towns for me if I'm taking one guy all the way at the high end. And then last but not least, I mentioned Nikola Vucevic. I really like him against Charlotte tonight. Think this is a good spot for him. Those are my centers.
Can we talk about the Wizards real quick? Because you got Poole out. You got Kuz, who I think is injured, right? Not starting. Is that correct?
Hold on. Let me check that. Let me go to my NBA feed. Let me go to my NBA feed. Sorry, Roth. My NBA feed, I'm usually on it, and it feeds me all this random information, so I know what's going on.
Assume it's right.
Yeah. So he's definitely not starting because I got the starting lineup. It's Brogdon, Carrington, Coulibaly, Champagne, and Sarr.
Who's scoring? Like, can we play someone there has to score because Kuz takes shots and Poole takes shots, and I don't know who else on that team does. Who's going to try? Who's their playmaker? Because I want that dude.
It's Malcolm Brogdon. But listen, Brogdon's been very productive with all these guys out. Carrington will be fine. Coulibaly will be fine, but I don't like these prices. That's the thing. Like, I'm not paying over $6K for Coulibaly. If he goes for 40, he just goes for 40. But Brogdon for me, I like him a ton.
All right. You're going to come. I'm playing Sarr. And I'm going to hope he's the dude who says, you drafted me high up. I'm stepping up. I'm taking 30 shots tonight.
He's been fine.
Am I wrong? Yeah, that's fine. Hey, guess what? We've got about 5 minutes until lock. Let's dive into it. I know that Poole is out. I think I said that. If I didn't say that, I meant to say that. Okay, you prefer Brogdon over Champagne. Let's do it. Let's dive into some QQs right now. We've only got a few minutes until lock. So we are scrolling through. Let's see what we got here. FanDuel Cash, Obvia or OG? Who do you prefer?
OG.
That was easy, and I prefer that. In the Brogdon versus Champagne question, Eric Johnson pointing out Champagne might be the answer because it is getting close to New Year's. Champagne, you get it? Champagne. I got it, Eric. It was good. Yeah. James, like, yeah, all right. You got to play Scoot for $5K if you have a guard spot over Keegan. You agree with that for $5K?
I'm perfectly fine with Scoot. He's had 2 really good games, 3 games above value. Once again, that's why I said this is a deep tournament play for Keegan Murray. This isn't something where you just load it up. I'm just saying for $5K, this is a guy that can get you some nice fantasy points.
Okay, very good. Is Mobley viable? He says, and power forward. Which I don't
he's
really
fine. I mean, listen, Mobley's been really good at 7,800, 76. I think he's 7,800 on DraftKings. Is that right? 7,800. Yeah, I think Mobley's fine. He's not my favorite. I definitely like Bridges more than Mobley tonight, but I'm not going to tell anyone to not play Mobley. He's been fantastic.
Okay. I shouldn't have entered lineups while it's just the two of us. This was a mistake. White or Giddey? Actually, multiple people asking this at the same time. White or Giddey?
Giddey for me. Giddey.
Okay. Broccoli Boy asks, broccoli or cauliflower?
Broccoli.
Yeah, by a lot. Broccoli Boy, you're on the right side of that debate for sure. Mr. Irrelevant says, I've got 3,700 left at the forward spot on DK in a large field GPP. I'm landing on Jones Jr. Your thoughts, or is there a better suggestion?
I would say, can you swap somebody out and maybe get up to the 4K range? That 3K range tonight is just nasty.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
Like, I'd probably play Precious over whoever that person was he wanted to play.
Okay. Oh, God, I made the lineup work. With 2 minutes left. Let's go. By the way, you only have about 2 minutes left to make sure your lineup works. Smash that like button, by the way. Ayton or Jared Allen? I feel like Ayton is your boy tonight.
Ayton for me, man.
Okay. Very good. Hey, by the way, make sure you're signing up for RG Combo Lite. We're taking $10 off your first month because of the holidays. That means access to our SimLabs lineup building tool and content from some of your favorite DFS analysts for $19.99. That is for an entire month. That's affordable and has everything you need to build great lineups. That's our holiday deal, and the holidays are almost over, so make sure you do it. Eric said, where's my present? That's it. $19.99 a month. That is your present. Seeing if we got anything else coming in the Discord. Giddey or Colby White? Did we answer that one already?
Yep, Giddey.
Man, a lot of people.
That's a big decision tonight, and it's Giddey for me.
Okay. Markkanen or Mobley? Did I get you there?
Mobley.
Okay. Very good. Is pairing Giddy? Oh, here we go. Anger says, "Can I pair Giddy and White?"
I would prefer the split. I don't hate it if you're stacking the game. Does that make sense? If you're stacking the game, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Did producer Steve get an air fryer for Christmas? I'm not sure why we're asking that, but producer Steve, make sure you smash the like button before you go. Producer Steve, did you get an air fryer for Christmas?
I did not, but we got some gift cards and I might get a new one.
Sorry.
Hey, and the daughter, and was that your daughter or Roth's kid?
That's mine in the background.
She said, "I'm getting a new one." That's what she said.
You're gonna give me those crunchy chicken nuggies, not the microwave ones.
She's ready.
Nuggies.
Yeah.
Well, we use the oven, but it just takes too long.
It's so long. Yeah, it's
long.
so annoying. Okay, very good. Hey, guess what, guys? We're just seconds until lock. So with that, we have done all the things that we came here to do. Chief solo in it and got the drip and solo in the show. He does it all, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're following him on Twitter or X. His account is
at Chief Justice 06.
At Chief Justice 06. Follow him for more great content. Of course, the prop shop as well. We're going to bounce on out of here. Derek says, thank you for Roth, Chief Steve. Great show. Yeah, agreed. Thank you. You're welcome. So much love. So much love. We appreciate that. So for Chief and for all of RotoGrinders, hope you have happy holidays. Happy New Year to you. We've got one more show before the new year. I assume we're back tomorrow. I don't know what the NBA schedule is, but I assume
we got a crunch time tomorrow. Just a crunch time tomorrow.
Just a crunch time. Okay, very good. Well, then we will catch you tomorrow. For Chief, for Steve, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys. We appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been